Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to dive on in and take a first look at Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, the card game from Cubicle 7 Games. This is designed by Big Man Murph and Sam Taylor. The game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 1 to 4 hours. Yes, you heard that correctly, 1 to 4 hours. Does carry an MSRP of $39.99. Having said all that, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Warhammer 40K Darktide, the card game. Do want to mention my friends over at Cubicle 7 Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But neither I nor anyone else associated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. These days, it's very important you know that. All right, let's dive on in. First of all, let's get rid of that shrink wrap, and we'll take a peek at the back of the box. Hive Tertium is on the brink of collapse, and a band of conscripted rejects is its last hope for salvation. Darktide, the card game, is a cooperative experience for 1 to 4 players. Wield the arsenal skills and techniques of an Ogren Skullbreaker, Psyker Psychonetic, Veteran Sharpshooter, or Zealot Preacher to take on a deadly tide of enemies, elites, and bosses. Explore the sectors of the Hive in a 6-mission campaign where every choice matters, diving ever deeper and coming face to face with growing corruption and even deadlier threats. Purge the taint of heresy from Hive Tertium, or find yourself consumed by it. Dun, dun, dun. Gotta say, this box is fairly heavy. All right, come on. There we go. So we have got our rule book. Looks like we've got some punch boards, actually quite a few punch boards here. I think each of the players is going to have some sort of a tracking board in front of them. Then it looks as if we've got a bunch of different decks of cards. We'll take a look at those last. It appears we've got, wow, 4 decks of standard size cards and then larger cards here. Nice insert for all of that. Actually, that's some pretty steady and sturdy cardstock there. Like that a ton. First thing we're going to do, though, is take a peek at the rule book. Here's our overview. Thrown against wave after wave of abominations, your squad of rejects must face the wrath of the servants of chaos as they struggle to stop the heresy unfolding in Hive Tertium. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing the Hive, but I got to be honest, I have not played the video game. You'll have to figure out how best to use your weapons and archetypes' unique abilities to survive. Fail, and another sector of the already crumbling Hive falls to the forces of chaos. As you get deeper into the Hive, the more ferocious and corrupted enemies you'll face, but the Inquisitor's trust in you will grow, granting you better weapons and upgrades to carry you through the fire and better smite your enemies. If you can recover 5 material, purity, and obedience from the Hive sectors across 6 missions, you'll have a chance to save the Hive from the ruinous powers and complete your service to the Emperor of Mankind for now. All right. So you're going to choose your character. You have action cards from an action deck. So I'm guessing each of the archetypes has a different deck they might be using. So you're going to choose your character. You're going to build your combos. Each turn, connect the action cards in your hand to string together weapon activations and other powerful effects. Your hand refills every round, so use as many cards as you can. I wonder if there's a bit of a deck building aspect to this. Face the tide. Every round, events fill the tide with new enemies, and they keep rushing to the front. Destroy them before they get the chance to retaliate, and watch out for bosses and elites. Rescue the sectors of Hive Tertium, which are those bigger cards, it seems. Each provides a different twist to the mission and different resources if you win. Complete your mission, survive and succeed to save the sector and collect valuable Hive resources. Collect enough within 6 missions to save the Hive. All right. Winning the game, if at any time your entire squad is reduced to 0 toughness, your current mission has failed. But work together to survive and complete the final event in a mission to succeed. In campaign play, your squad collects Hive resources from successful missions. Collect at least 5 of each material, obedience, and purity across 6 missions to save Hive Tertium from the forces of chaos. Choose how you want to play. Jailbreak. Play a simple no-stakes introductory mission to learn how to play. Single mission, campaign play. There is also solo play and other game modes presented later in the rule book. So it's showing us our components. Yes, each of the players has a player board. They have their action cards, and it looks like each has 20 cards. Weapon cards, enemy cards, sector cards, event cards. Some components aren't added to the game until later in the campaign or when you choose a harder difficulty in a single mission play. Before beginning setup, separate these components out, return them to the game box. They're tagged with the numerals 1 and 2. Got our players set up. Our archetype tokens. Each player takes their archetype's corresponding archetype token. Keep it nearby your player board. Useful for keeping track of who's the first player each round, who is yet to take a turn, and is used by a few in-game effects. The action cards have combo symbols. What cards connect together? Combos can go either left or right. Each action card has a name to describe what's happening, what the card does when you add it to your combo. And then an archetype icon indicates which archetype the card and deck belongs to. You got chainswords, bolters, shield, hammer. Talking about the weapon cards. Our player board. That's showing how it should be laid out. Setting up the mission. Supply cards. Here's our sector cards as well. Looks like we're going to seed the mission with cards. Looks like we've got kind of a grid set up. And we have mission rounds. Once the mission begins, the squad plays through 6 rounds before reaching the final event. Mission rounds continue and reinforcements continue to be deployed until the squad satisfies the conditions for success on the final event. At the end of any round, if all the players are downed, the mission ends in failure. Each mission round comprises the following steps. New event. Reveal the rightmost event card and read it aloud. Reinforcements. Deploy enemy cards face up into the tide, equal to the total reinforcement value. Number of players plus reinforcement modifier, multiplied by event multiplier, then add any reinforcement values from enemies currently in the tide. Better bust out the calculator there. Then we've got our player turns, then the enemy retaliates, then we clean up to finish the round. Any player with less than 4 cards in their hands draws action cards till they have at least 4. Then at the end of the mission, I'm going to determine if it was successful or failed. So with the player turns, you begin a combo only once per turn. Choose an action card from your hand to begin your combo for the turn. Place it face up in front of you. Do what the action card says. Resolve any additional effects that may occur. Continue the combo. Choose an action card with a combo symbol that matches a direction on your previously played action card. Place it face up next to your last played action card. Do what the action card says. Resolve any additional effects that occur. You can also activate an ability. Between playing action cards, you can use any of your archetype's abilities, including reload and patch up, on your player board, and some weapons grant you additional abilities too. Some of these abilities cost an amount of stamina, which you must spend to activate them. So we've got playing action cards. You activate your melee weapon, ranged weapon, defense, stamina, backup. And we got some important rules: covering fire, running out of cards, upgrading the archetype, the tide. So this is the diagram how the tide is laid out and its various unique areas, such as rows, columns, and where the front and rear are located. Use the event row above it to gauge its length. It says boss and enemy cards always take up 2 slots. So I guess those are also some of the larger cards there. Calculating enemy reinforcements. The campaign to save the hive. Ending. So if you get all hive resources, 9 or more, it's salvation. If you can't get 5 of all of them, it's exterminatus. We've got our additional game modes: single mission, jailbreak, solo play. Was that damnation mode? Yeah, damnation mode. All right, so here we've got some examples of action card combos. And an FAQ, mission logs, and an ad for some of the other cool stuff from Cubicle 7 Games. I know many of you are familiar with their role-playing games because I cover them all the time. All right, so next up, we're going to take a look at these cards. We're not going to take a look at each and every card. I'm going to take a look at a few of these. And what I will do is I will actually, well, before we do that, let's look at the other things that we've got in here. So we've got our reinforcement board, front of our tide. Here's the Skull Breakers card, or board, I should say. The Psykinetic, the Sharpshooter, and the Preacher. Of course, then we have different tokens underneath those. So there you go. Otherwise, I would have forgotten to take a peek at them. Okay, so here we've got all of these cards. And these are the bigger cards. So allow me to zoom in. Okay, so these are supply cards. And here's our Zealot deck. We should have 20 of those. Yep. I think that's the Sharpshooter, the Veteran, and the Psyker. So that's only part of the Psyker's deck. Point blank, activate your ranged weapon. Take cover. Warp siphon. Battle meditation. For the Emperor. So back up. Kind of surprised we don't have any artwork really on these cards. I thought maybe we would have had a little bit of art. So as far as our Veteran, charge. So that would activate your melee weapon, then back up. Covering fire. Got your back. Power attack. Another power attack. Headshot. I believe how the combos would work would be something along the lines of, so you would play covering fire to begin. And then you have to play another card that's going to have that bolter icon on it. So that has the bolter there. So you could play it on that side there for your combo. See how it's got like a chain running across this? And then you would need to play another one like that to continue your combo. Like say, or something like this to continue your combo. That's the idea I'm getting from taking a peek at those rules. Obviously, you saw me just glancing through those rules. I don't know for certain. So, all right. So those are those cards. The supply, here we go. At least we've got some artwork on these. Intel. Kill the mutant. It's a duty. So it's oh, that's a mission modifier. Okay. Okay, cool. So we've got that. I'm sure we've got more of these supply cards. Got weapon cards. So we have tier 3, tier 2. Oh, I see. We also have the symbol for each of the archetypes here. So that's got to be the zealot. So a lot of weapons here. That's cool. Here we go. Here's more supply. So I think that's the veteran. Maybe not. Here we go. We got some more artwork. Shovel. Sword. Power sword. Laser gun. Auto gun. Lawbringer shotgun. Hellbore laser gun. For the zealot, these are tier 3. The plasma gun. Nice. These also 3? Oh, no, that it says tier 0. I was going to say, I guess these are all of the weapons. Here I was thinking we've got these big decks of weapons. I guess not. Here's the tier 2s. A flamer, shotgun, hammer, chain axe. That's sweet. I like that. That's cool. Then we've got, here's another tier 0. Tier 1s, combat axe, stub revolver. Taking a guess, you're going to have these 2 weapons to start off with, right? So that's your melee weapon. That is your ranged weapon. That is for guessing the zealot. That's what it looks like to me. And then I would think in the campaign game, that's how you're going to earn these upgrades. Maybe even during a mission in some of these supply cards, maybe we've got some upgrades to our weapons. Let's find out. Let's see. Where do we have our enemy cards? I see the bosses and stuff. We got more actions. As far as the card stock, solid card stock with these. Of course, I would use penny sleeves on them simply to, keep them as pristine as you possibly can. Here's the Ogren. Here's the final events and normal events and hard events. So, guarded cache. Shrine to the Emperor. If the tide is empty in the end of this round, each player may draw up to 5 action cards at the end of this round. These are normal. Let's see, here's hard. Stealthy approach. This round, each player can only play a maximum of 3 action cards. See another one. Bulwark. After deploying enemy reinforcements, deploy the Bulwark elite enemy. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. And we've got final events. Take a couple of these out. Raid the sector. After this round, do not draw further reinforcements. When there are no enemies left in the tide, the mission succeeds. Monster of the Warp. After deploying enemy reinforcements, deploy the Demon Host boss enemy card. When the Demon Host is destroyed, the mission succeeds at the end of the round if the players survive retaliation. There you go. Nice. Extreme events. Oh, boy. Come on, get that. We'll just take a look at one. Choose a path. Shuttle any remaining extreme events from outside the mission and draw 2. Choose one of them to replace this event. Okay. All right. Here we got our enemies. These all enemies? Yep. They are. Take a look at some of these. Nice. The Scab Stalker has wounds. It's going to add +1 modifier to the reinforcements. Does 2 damage. Groaner Horde. X damage is equal to remaining wounds. Does not change our reinforcements. Dreadtox Flamer says this enemy deals damage to both defense and first player. Chaos Hound. Cool. Very nice. It looks like the artwork might be from the video game. Like I said, I have not played the video game because if I remember correctly, the video game is, you got to have 4 players. I think I could be wrong, but I thought you need to have, online 4-player team. So those are the enemy cards. This is our last bunch of cards here. These are the large size. Lots of luck trying to find sleeves for these cards. Okay. So here are the sectors. Silo Cluster 1666A. Vigil Station Oblivium. Comsplex 154/2F. And then it tells us what the final event is. That's cool. Nice. Quite a few different sectors here. Remember, if you're playing a campaign, you're going to play through 6. And there are, I think that was 6 right here. 11? 12 maybe? We got that. And then we've got our bosses and our elites. So there's the demon host. And the crusher. That's also the boss. Captain Wolfer. We'll take a look at a couple of the elites. Scab Captain. Another boss. Beast of Nurgle. Nice. I'll tell you who's probably going to really dig this is my nephew Cameron. That's the impression I got. I think I'll dig this too, but I'm saying out of the gang, I think this is probably going to be right up Cameron's alley. All right, so that is a peek inside Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, the card game from Cubicle 7 Games. Once again, this is available now. It carries an MSRP of $39.99. I should be able to get this to the table, get a review out for this probably within the next month or so. I know we're supposed to get together a couple of times in the not too distant future for us to play some board games and such with the gang. All right, that is it for this time out. If you dig the gaming gang and would like to support the outlet, you can do so in a few ways. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal, and you can even become a monthly member of our Patreon. You'll find links in the show notes. Also, down in those show notes, you're going to find an invite link to our Discord server. Absolutely free to sign up, so be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this first look, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube. Of course, when you're not watching videos here on the channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.